You're listening to Soul Food Chats.
Conversations that nourish your soul.
I'm Rahul.
And I'm Natalia.
So grab your favorite drink,
Get cozy,
open your mind,
and let's start chatting.
Hi everyone.
Welcome to Soul Food Chats.
Today we're going to be talking about emotions and sort of what do we do to process and heal emotions, whether it be from our past or something we're going through currently, and deal with them in a healthy way.
So let's dive in. Well, for me, dealing with emotions was always a very challenging experience, especially when it concerned something close to my heart. One of those experiences was losing my best friend in the past. I value that friendship really deeply, and I felt it very strongly because of that. I didn't know how to express my emotions. I didn't know how to reflect on them, how to understand what I'm feeling. And usually I would feel very overwhelmed. It felt like I was grieving somebody and a piece of me has just been taken away from me.
I think you say it felt like grieving. Honestly, I think it was grieving. And I think grief can actually come in so many different forms. It doesn't necessarily have to be losing somebody in a literal sense. I think the fact that they're no longer in your life anymore, you are losing them. You are losing that relationship. You are losing that friendship. And, looking at, for example, if we talk about friendship or any relationship, we all sort of have aspirations for what that friendship or relationship is going to be in the future, right? And then suddenly those things are gone, right? Those plans that you might have made together are gone. And you will grieve that. Sometimes even anger, right? Or resentment towards somebody. Because we can have that if, for example, that relationship or friendship, whatever it is that has ended, if there wasn't really a resolution there, you can have certain emotions towards that person as to like, oh, why did they do this? Why did they say this? Why are they not talking to me anymore? Why? So whatever is the situation, obviously it depends on the situation. But you have those emotions, and I think I would often hold on to them and almost like hold it too close to your chest, right? It was weighing me down. Like when I tell you it was weighing me down, I can't even, right? And I found that even a couple of years would go by and I still had those emotions inside of me. Then I sort of made a choice that these emotions from my past, whether it's grief, whether it's anger, sadness, these negative emotions are still coming up in my life in some way because I've suppressed them, and now they're being triggered and they're coming out in unhealthy ways, in unhealthy habits. And unhealthy habits can develop to sort of be a coping mechanism, I think.
Yeah, like lashing out, getting angry with the little things. You just start becoming very resentful towards others, towards your life.
Right. And I think what you just said there about sort of little things is, I think when you are getting upset about those little things, and I've noticed it in other people and then I've noticed it in myself as well, I think they're the things that actually you think, hang on a minute, whoa, why has that bothered me? Something's triggered you there. And actually it can sometimes, when you're in that situation yourself, it can really get on your nerves. Like, why is this another person saying to me, oh, you're just getting upset over this tiny thing? Oftentimes it's not that tiny thing that's upset you, it's something else, right? So I think that's also a good place to sort of start observing what are those things that are unhealed within yourself, right? What are those
the
emotions?
Suppressed layers of different kinds of circumstances, emotions that you've gathered along the way. For sure, it's all about observing, self-reflecting too. I think that has been a huge thing when you just sit down with yourself and think about, what am I feeling right now? Sometimes we don't even know what we are feeling, but we're just feeling some type of way, and we know it's not us. We don't feel like ourselves.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, there is something popping up, something that is showing us that something maybe has bothered us, or we should look into it.
I think what happened with me then with these emotions is I started noticing them, right? And I started noticing that they are connected with things that have happened in the past. They are emotions from my past that I've just not really released them from my body. I've not healed them, right? So I made a conscious choice that it's time to deal with those emotions. It's time to heal those emotions. So I can start feeling like light and free again in my life and not be sort of weighed down by this anymore. You can't really let new things in and new, feelings and anything really if you haven't really made space for that, right? It's all to do with that also, out with the old, in with the new. A lot of people use that phrase. And I think if you haven't cleaned out all of that dirt from the past, you're just going to keep adding to it really. And it's only really going to get worse if you don't actually deal with it.
You'll never be able to actually start a new chapter, because even once you start a new chapter in your life,
you're still holding on to the old.
That's still going to come back into your life.
100%.
Because it's unhealed. It's not that, oh, this is happening to me again. Oh, my life is bad again. It's just because you haven't healed that. You haven't worked through it. And it's still there, not to drag you down, but to be seen by you, to be noticed, to take it out of your system and replace it with something better, with something healthier.
One thing that actually made me suppress my emotions, I always knew this about myself, that I am a sensitive person. I am, an empath. I do feel a lot. And I feel like I couldn't express that side of myself. And it's something that was put on me, I think, growing up. I heard this a lot in school, like boys don't cry, men don't cry, strong men don't cry. Those kind of unhealthy beliefs and sayings were said to me a lot. And I heard that a lot as a kid. And actually, it's so unhealthy and toxic, because we are all human beings and we all feel things. And I think the only real way to heal these emotions is to actually allow yourself to feel them. Therefore, you're going to release that from your body. You're not going to, you're not going to hold on to it then. And I think you're not suppressing it.
I also think it also affects the relationships with their partners.
True.
Because if you don't have that emotional connections, which mostly you are looking for in a relationship, then there is something lacking. It's a huge part that's lacking. That connection, that love. There might be love, but if the other person is really like closed off or even shattered, that might just clash hugely. And I think many times when people open up in relationships, that's actually also a healing process on its own.
Yeah, 100% agree, yeah. I think in terms of feeling those emotions and allowing yourself to feel, it's human to feel, and you shouldn't feel guilty for feeling those emotions, right? I think oftentimes people with what some people might say to you, some people are just like, oh, get over it, it's not that big of a deal, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but in that moment, for you, maybe it has upset you. Maybe, it has got you feeling some kind of way. And if you don't feel your way through that, if you don't allow yourself to feel that, if you don't have that compassion for yourself and that care, those emotions are only going to eat you up inside as well. It's just, like we said, it's going to come out in really unhealthy ways that is not good for you at all. And then that's going to reflect in the relationships around you. It's going to affect how you interact with your family, with friends, even at work. All of these things affect you, and they affect your mood and your stress levels. And in turn, it will affect everything else in your life. So I thought, for me, it was really important that I take the time to do this inner work and to do that healing. What are some of the things that maybe you do to maybe help you with this?
I think for me, it's very important to be by myself. I need to go away and be by myself. It can be either I just go and meditate or go on a walk, go to the park. Listening to music helps me tremendously to feel, to understand, especially when I can relate to the lyrics. It just helps me release that. And if I feel like I need to cry, I go and cry.
I think music is a great tool to I can say that as a singer as well, that for me, like, for example, when I go away and sing, and that helps me to sort of feel out those emotions, because I put those emotions into a song. Same with acting, like, for example, I can use that when I'm on set or preparing for a character. I put those emotions that I'm feeling. Sometimes I won't fully put them there because that also can be unhealthy, but I definitely pull from them and use them sometimes. And I think not only does it help me in my work to make my performance more genuine, but it helps me to release it in a healthier way. Another one I like to do is just meditation. I feel like there's this meditation that I do, and it's a guided one on YouTube. And what he sort of talks about is sort of just relaxing your body, and then see what feelings you feel. Where in your body are you feeling them? And see like what you can just relax and release it. And sometimes you might even end up crying during that meditation. Sometimes, you might feel it in your breathing or whatever it is. And I feel like through breath as well, you can sort of release those emotions. Another one for me definitely is journaling, and especially for past emotions for me, the more sort of complex ones like grief, for example. I felt like journaling was fantastic because there's a lot there that maybe you don't understand it straight away. And then journaling has helped me to sort of process it and to almost then see it from an outside perspective in a way, because then it's there in front of me on the page. And so I can then look at it and go, okay, actually, I think I'm feeling this because of this. And it helps you to sort of work through those feelings step by step. And in that process, it can take time. It takes as long as it takes. I can't sit here and say that it's going to take you a week or a year or even, 2 days. It really could be, healing is different for everybody. And because healing is different for everybody, and because it's not a linear thing, you might have good days. You might then have bad days. You might feel like some of those days are great progress and some of those days are like setbacks, but they're not setbacks because even they are there to show you something. Or maybe that's you actually feeling that emotion and working through it. And then you're maybe going to feel better tomorrow, right? And so I felt like throughout this process, it is messy. It does take time, but just be compassionate with yourself.
Understanding and managing our emotions was a long journey for both of us. And we're still on it.
Yeah.
Work in progress.
Always.
But we have learned some valuable lessons along the way, haven't we?
100%.
Lessons of vulnerability, having patience with ourselves, and finding people that resonate with us and connect with us on an emotional level.
Yeah, 100%. I think we all know who those people are in our life that you check in with them, they check in with you, and you can feel safe to be vulnerable with them. Having a chat with them can really shift your perspective.
Without judgment.
It's healing in itself, right? Because then it's a problem shared and you don't feel like you're sitting isolated with it for a start. And then it's like an outside person's perspective looking in, and sometimes you realize that thing you worried about isn't such a big deal, right?
Yeah, absolutely that.
And then also check in with yourself. I do this thing now where I'll just take a deep breath, close my eyes, just really soft with myself, like, how am I doing today? This thing that you've got coming up, how do you feel about it? Are you nervous about it? When you recognize that thing, then you can do something to help you with it.
Yes. How was yesterday? Is it still affecting me today?
Like, is something from yesterday still upsetting me, or is it frustrating me? Or
am I letting that go and bringing in the new energy, focusing on the new?
Whether it's about something that's coming up or something that's in the past, it's just good to check in with yourself. And in recognizing that emotion, then you can do something about it. You don't have to sit in it. I used to find myself sitting in, like, if I was sad, for example, sitting in that sadness is not going to help you. You have to feel it. Of course, you have to feel it.
Yeah, feel the emotion, react to it. We are human. So, of course, if something happens in our life, we will react to things. We will feel things. But what is important is to know how to let that go, to not stay in the same energy over and over again and keep those patterns going, the ones that don't serve us.
You have to think, okay, how can I shift out of this? You will catch yourself in it first. That's also a step in the process. Then it's like, okay, what can I do about it? So for example, if I know like I've got this thing coming up, I'm anxious about it, I might go and meditate. or if I'm feeling down about something, I actually might go to the gym and get active, or go for a walk, listen to music, listen to that song that just uplifts you.
I think being active is so important. It's
100%.
transformational. Getting your heart rate up and releasing dopamine helps to shift your mood instantly. Also, I think it's a great way to release any anger or stress that you have. Being active is one of the best ways to deal with that. Or even when you have some type of creative block, it's great to move away and get rid of that frustration. Forget about all of it for at least a minute.
Because the second you start moving, it's going to shift something, right? And then actually you're going to look back at that situation and you're going to see it with a different perspective, because that emotion is no longer clouding your judgment with it.
Yeah.
With these things about shifting out of that emotion, I thought what really helped me was when I went through and made a list of these things that helped me. So everyone's going to know what that thing is for them. So it could be, like I said, you go to the gym, you get active, you might put on that really great song that you enjoy, you might go for a walk, you might take a bath, like literally whatever it is that's going to help you. Make that list for yourself of healthy rituals and keep it, because sometimes when you are in those emotions, you can't always think, oh, I should do this. So it's helpful to have that list there and go, actually, which one should I pick today? And which one's going to help me today? And I'm going to go do this. And I promise you, it will shift something when you get up and you do those things. And it might not make you feel 100% better straight away, but at least you're shifting out of it gradually. And I think the more you do it, the better you get at this process, until it starts happening automatically. And it's like, whoa, this has actually really shifted something.
It's becoming a new habit. You start rewiring the old habit that wasn't necessarily serving you. And now you can switch that to a new habit that you'll start practicing every day. And at some point, it will become completely natural. Like,
exactly.
That's how you are.
Exactly, 100%.
Every time I would ask myself, why me? Why is it happening to me again?
I went on set and I was like, oh my God, there's so many of these like amazing, talented people around me. And I'm like, what am I doing here? You know, why play the victim when actually you could play the main character?
You could be the main character of your story, writing your own story, your own script. Some people straight away just completely negate themselves. Even a simple phrase as, I can't do it. It's an instant killer.
Exactly. But actually, if you keep persisting and you keep going and actually you think, yes, I can do it.
I can't do it. And you just try it. You fail. Well, you do it again.